Hello there, good people. Welcome back to this new episode where I build an Instagram clone. My name is Marco and I'm a full stack developer. And this is where I left off last time, where I built the models and the database schema for this new web application. So if you didn't watch it, just go and check it out. But basically, I've created a user model. This is the schema that the model is going to, respect. And this is the Insta schema basically for the picture, and this is for the comment. I wanted to start creating some routes. The way I'm going to do it is basically to create a new folder inside my SRC, and I'm going to call it routes, just like this. Now inside this route I'm going to have my different routes, and for this application I think I'm going to have just three. The first one is going to be the API itself, then make sure to select the routes, and the second is going to be the auth. This is going to host all the routes for login, maybe password reset, and authentication and whatnot. And another one that I want to have is we can call it front end, I can call it client. So basically all the routes that the client can see on the front end. Okay, so this is pretty much done. One last thing that I need to do inside the API, I want to create a new folder. I know this is becoming a little bit nested, but it's just for best practice. I want to create a v1 folder because my API can have multiple versions, and inside this folder I'm going to have all the routes of the version 1, and if I want more I can have all the routes of version 2, version 3, etc. But inside the API folder, I also want to create a file, and this is going to be the index.js. So basically, this is what it's taking everything and routing into the correct route, let's say. Okay, so the routes are looking good. One last thing that I need to do, if I open my server, my terminal here, and make sure I'm in the right folder, okay, I want to install some packages. So first package I'm going to install is Morgan, which is a login middleware. The second package for this is going to be, so let's install this for now. Okay, this is done. And another package I'm going to need is NodeMon. This is going to be for basically restarting the server every time I save it. Restart the server every time I save changes. Okay, and if we take a look at the package.json, we can see that we have our NodeMon dependency here, and Morgan is right here. And these one, Express and Mongoose are coming from last time. So, okay, I think we're good in terms of organization. Now we need to do something. So the first thing I want to do inside the index.js file is I'm gonna require the Express the Express package. So just require Express. Okay. Now I'm going to create a router. And this is basically an Express object that allows me to set up routes exactly like the app, but this can be exported. And this is super convenient. Right now. One last thing that I need to do is to export it. So module.exports, and I'm gonna export that router. Beautiful. Now, if I go into my server.js, just inside here, okay, and listen, I'm gonna set up the routes. And in here, I want to use like a middleware, and if I do it like this, I'm basically setting up a route to use this middleware. So this middleware would be used just when I hit the /API route. And what do I want to use? Well, I want to use the API. Now it's not here yet because I haven't imported, but this basically would be repeated for all the rest. It's going to be an auth, and this is going to be an auth. And we can use the So the on route to look at the client. Yeah, look at the client. Let's call it like this. So basically I can get rid of this. This will never get taken. Now I need to import this API auth and client. And I can import it like this, import routes. So basically I am importing the API route. So one thing I'm gonna do is API, I'm gonna require, since it is a file, I need to start with a dot. And basically I need to go to the routes. So I have it right here. Inside this route, I need to get the API. And I just leave it like this because inside the API, if you remember, we have the index.js. So Node.js knows that if you do it like this, it has to grab the index that it finds in that folder. And this is basically going to be almost the same. I'm not going to do it now though, because we don't have anything set up in the auth, and it might cause some import error. So basically like this, I am importing whatever is in this, whatever I am exporting from this, and I'm exporting the router. So again, once I hit the /API route, I'll be, let's say, redirected to this router. So now this is going to take care of the routing and the logic. Okay, what I want to do now in the version 1, I will need basically 3 routes, and I'll explain why. So these are the models that I now have in my database: the user model, the Insta model, and the comments. And the basic logic for handling data and APIs is to use what is called a CRUD logic, which stands for create, read, update, and delete. Luckily for us, the HTTP protocol has methods that aligns perfectly with this CRUD logic, because if you think about it, we have the post method to create, we have the get to read, the put or patch to update the record, and the delete is basically the same. So if I have 3 models here, I'm going to have 4 routes for the user, 4 for the Insta, and 4 for the comment. So in total, I'm going to have 12 routes. There might be more, but as a base, we're going to have 12 routes, so 4 for each. And let's see what I can do here. So I'm in the v1, and inside this folder, I want to create 3 files. First is going to be the user routes.js. The second one is going to be the Insta routes.js. And the third one, you guessed it, is going to be the comment routes. Is it spelled correctly? Routes.js. Beautiful. Now, if I go into my user routes, I want to do exactly the same because these are going to be routes. So I want to require the Express app, the Express library, and then I'm going to create a router. This is going to be equal the Express router. Don't forget the capital letter here because it's a class, it's an object. And then don't forget to export it, because otherwise you're not going to be able to, use it anywhere else. Okay, now this is going to represent basically my user route version 1 for the API. Now, everything that I do here is going to have a basic route, and I can give it inside here. So for instance, if I want to use this particular thing, I can import it. So import routes. And I can say that the user, it's required. Since it is a file, I need to start with a dot. It's in the same folder. So I go into v1 and I go into user routes. Okay. So now basically I am importing whatever I'm exporting from there. This is going to be the Insta routes. And this is going to be the comment routes. Yeah. Save it. I need to change the name inside here as well. and this is going to be the comment. Okay. Now what I want to do, I can say that the v1 is going to be a router.use. So I can basically do the same thing I'm doing in the server, but instead of doing it with the app itself, I'm doing it with the router object. So every time I go to /v1/user, I'm going to use the routes that I'm setting up in the user. If I go to v1 Insta, I'm setting up the Insta view, or the Insta routes side. I have a comment. If I do like this, I have comments. So basically these are saying that if I am right here in the index.js file, which is in the API folder, I am already in the route that has a /API. Then if I do a /API v1 user, I'm going to go inside this file, user route. So basically inside here. So now if I do just a basic .get/, this is basically the home route. And let's try and test it. So to set up a route in, what is it? Okay. To set up a route in Express is very easy. I don't have the route. You just need to use the router instead. Okay, this is better. So router.get, this is gonna accept the get method. It's going to be to this /address. But you're gonna see that it's not the home page, the home address, because inside here I'm already in further down the line in the routing. So in this case, we can just send an h1, this basic HTML, there from users, and let's close this h1, save it. I want to do the same just to show you what I mean for the common routes and the Insta routes. But instead, of course, this is going to be the Insta, and this is going to be the comment. Okay. So right now I have my route set up, and I want to do something particular, which is this. I'll insert a new script, and this script is going to use nodemon to start the server, so that I can use that instead. Now what I want to do is make sure that I'm in the right folder. Then I'm going to run dev. It's npm. Let's see what it tells me here. Okay, auth is not defined, of course. This is the import errors that I was mentioning before, so we can just get rid of this for now. And now everything is connected. And if I go into my localhost 3000, now there is no home route, so I cannot go there. But if I go to API, then v1, then user, I should be able to see hello from users. So it's working. Let's see if the Insta is working. It is, and even the comment. And it is. So basically our server is routing correctly. Now I absolutely understand the fact that it's a bit of a complex structure, but this is just a best practice, because now I know where my routes are and I can just handle them more efficiently. So if I want to change anything, I want to add a version to the API, I can just do so, opening it and just creating a new v2, and then basically setting up the routes in the index. And my job is done. Okay. So this being said, let's get a bit more inside the fun stuff. So as we said, I want to follow a CRUD logic. So basically create, read, update, and delete. In this case, I'm in the user route, so I want to be able to create. And the create uses the post method. So we can just do it like this. It uses a post method. Now, if I just do the post method like this, and this is going to be the /route. So basically API, then /v1/user, I have access to the request, to the response, and I'm gonna call it next. And this next is quite important because it basically calls another function, which is the next function down the line. And if I don't call it and some errors happen, I cannot call the next event on the chain. And basically I am stuck. There is not going to be any response from the API. So inside here, I want to receive basically the request for my user. Now, for this, I have to take a look at the model. So we said that the username is required. The email is not, the password is required. And then we have this, but this not required, of course, in the body. When you create it, there's no follow or forward. The timestamps is going to be created by itself. So for now, the username and the password are just required, and then the email is optional. So right now, I need some basic validation. And I don't want to write it myself because it's time consuming and it might be efficient. So what I want to do is install a package called Joy, J-O-I. And this is going to be my validator, okay? Now, if you take a look at this is the documentation for Joy. And the thing you need to do is just to, of course, require it and then set up a schema. And this is going to be the validation schema. So you set up all this. This basically means there's got to be a username. It's got to be a string with letters and numbers, at least 3 characters, and at max 30, and it is required. It's quite intuitive, and the password as well. You can even set the pattern. And I'm just gonna copy paste this for now. I think, yeah, everything is fine. And then if you want to validate it, you just run the schema.validate and you give it the object to validate. So pretty easy stuff. What it returns an error and a value. If there is an error, well, you display it. If there is a value, I think it's the value of the body itself. Okay, so to do this, I want to create another folder outside my routes folder, but inside my SRC folder. This is going to be the validators. Inside my validators, I'm going to have my user validators. Validators.js. Okay. Inside here, I'm just gonna do like the website said. I can just copy paste actually. Let's see if I can do this. I need a schema. Yeah, it ends up like here. Come and see. Common V. Is everything correct? Yes. Now, this is going to be my, let's call it create user validation schema. Now, I know it sounds very long, but it's always better to give descriptive names to variables. And also, this is not the only validator that I'm gonna have, because if I want to update the user, I'm going to have a new validator where the username is not required and the password neither. So inside here, I don't need the birth date, I just need this. This is the email, I don't need this, I don't even know what it means, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. It's gonna be an email field, email, password, and username. I think we're good for now. This is going to be required, so we're gonna put it like this. It's gonna follow this pattern, which is, it starts with letters, either capital or lowercase, and numbers, and it must be at least 3 characters. Just put it 6, and at max 30 characters. I'm just gonna put 32, why not? Inside here, I'm gonna have a username that's minimum 6 characters long and 32 characters max. I save it, beautiful. Everything is fine. Yeah, now I need to export it, of course, because I need to use it somewhere else. And to export it, I'm going to export it like an object, like this. And I'm going to export it like this. So if I want to import it in my user routes, and I can use it, I need to, let's say, import validators. I need to go inside that, and I can do a bit of destructuring, and this is called create user validation schema. Was it like this? Validation schema, yeah, it was. And I'm just gonna require from, now we are in the v1 folder, so we need to step up one folder, up another folder, and then inside the validator. So 2 dots, and we are in the v1, outside the v1, 1 dot, we are outside the API. There are 2 dots, sorry. And then again, I need to step outside again one more time, and then validators, and inside the validators is the user validators. So yeah, it's a pretty, I don't know, complex folder structure, but believe me, it's better to be organized in structures like this, because you're gonna find yourself, you're gonna find things in an easier way. So now I have my create user validation schema, and I can just put it like this. The first thing I want to do is, so let's say validation, or maybe is valid. Why not? And the in is valid, I can use the create user validation schema dot validate. Now validate, and I'm just gonna pass the body, so the body of my request. Now here I'm going to say that if, so this is going to return an error. You know what, we can destructure it like this. So we got the error and the value. If we have the error, I'm going to return that error. So let's say res.json. I can just return it like this. Yeah, why not? We're gonna put a status in here. No idea, 400 bad request, because the validation failed. If it didn't, I need to just do it like this. Return, so the function just stops. If everything goes like well, I can just send an object with a message, and it's it worked. Okay, so the body is valid. Now this is a post request. So how can I test a post request? Well, for this purpose, I'm going to use Postman. Now, Postman is a very powerful tool to test APIs. It's completely free if you want to do basic stuff. And you can use, I mean, there are others. You can use Insomnia that I know of, or if you want, if you use VS Code, there are also some VS Code extensions that allow you to test APIs directly from your text editor. For now, I'm going to use Postman. So first of all, I need to run my server. So run dev. See that everything, yeah, sure. So it's the same, right? Okay. Joy is not defined. Of course, you know why? Because I copy paste, and here I pasted like not capital, but lowercase. Now it's working fine. I can go here and I can, well, just do it like this. We have, it's going to be on port 3000. We said API v1 user. Now we should get back an HTML. It's not because, yeah, of course, I need to use Postman agent because I'm on localhost. Otherwise, Postman doesn't let you do it. Okay, now we should be good to go. And as you can see, we received the HTML from the user. But if I make a post request, and I don't send anything to the body, I should get the error from Joy. Let's see if this happens. And it actually happens. So this is basically the error. So the original is basically the body that I've sent. These are the details of the error. So it tells me that the username is required, and just like this. So the validator works, and yeah, we can start build interesting stuff. No. Okay. One last thing that we can do, just to keep things simple, is to use well, we need to import it. So Morgan is a logging library. So basically every incoming request, it's just gonna log it. And I'm gonna start it like a dev logs. And if I now show you this, and I make a request like this get request, you can see that it has been logged. So it tells me the method, the route that has been hit, and the status code of the response. Like this, debugging might become a little bit easier because you know that your server is being, requests are coming into your server. Let's get back to the user routes. And let's say, so this is fine. This is returning the error. But if there is no error, what I want to do is save the user. And to save the user, I need to have the user model. The user model is inside this folder. So I'm going to import that as well. So import user models. And again, this is going to be user. I'm going to require. And since this is a folder, I have to start with a dot. Of course, I need to go one up, another, and another. And now I am outside in the SRC, select models, and I select user. Beautiful. Now I have my user model right here. And what I can do is since I know that since I know the body is valid, I can just feed it to the, you know what, I am curious. What if I put like value here? Because I think it's the body that I send, but I never actually done it. So if we take a look at the post request, we're gonna feed it a JSON file. And we said the username was required. So we're just gonna say Marco, the password was required. And it's going to be Marco Ciao. Yeah. Oh, even numbers. Was it? Yeah, like this. And I'm just gonna set an email of, I don't know, Marco email.com. But what if I do this? Just something, a status true, just like this. I want to see what comes back. At least 6 characters. Sure. Okay. Status is not allowed. Beautiful. So it doesn't allow anything that is outside the schema. This I didn't know. So we can basically feed the entire body inside the model. We know that nothing illicit or not allowed will be introduced in our database. This was my basic concern. But if I do like this, what's the value? Okay, the value is the body itself. Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So we know that if there is an error, we're gonna return a 400 status code with the error itself. But if there is no error, and now we need to do something else because we need to save the user. Now, there are a few best practices that you need to keep in mind when you're saving users' data. The first thing is, it's kind of a best practice, and it's saving the username as lowercase. And that's because you want like the you want the username to be unique, okay? But you also don't want to make differences between uppercase Marco and a lowercase Marco. So this is going to help you in the future. Secondly, you don't want to save you want to save hashed passwords, not plain text. And to hash password, I'm going to use a library which is called Bcrypt, and I have it right here. So basically, you're required, you give it a number of rounds, 10 is standard, then you give it a plain text password, and you run these two methods. So basically you generate a salt and then you hash it. Of course, this is asynchronous, so we can use the async await syntax, which in my opinion is a little bit better. And it also offers you a comparison function. So you can run this, you put the plain text password that the user is going to pass in when they log in, for instance, the hash version that we're going to have in our database, and then the function, the callback function. I'm going to have a async await, so there is no need for a callback function. Okay, so first thing first, I need to turn the username into lowercase. So username dot to lowercase. No, it's value dot username dot to lowercase. To lowercase. Okay. Now this is going to basically turn it into lowercase. Now one thing I need to make sure is that the username is unique. So check if username is unique, and is not unique like this. And I can use the user model dot find, and I can just feed it an object with the username. And this is an asynchronous method, so I need to use the await, and I need to turn this into an asynchronous function. So basically, if this comes back empty, this is going to be false. So if it's empty, the username is unique. So if it is not unique, if is not unique, I'm just going to return rest the status 400, because, or maybe 409. The 409, it's conflict. And it's a conflict because there is already a user with a name. Then I'm going to return a JSON file with a message, of course. The message is going to be username in use, already in use, and error of yeah, I can call it 409 like this. Why not? So basically, if the username already exists, we're gonna send a status of 409. Now, what we can do is also to check if the email is unique. We can see if is email not unique. And it's gonna follow the same principle. Now, I'm gonna use a ternary here. So basically I'm saying, if there is an email in the body, well then run this validation. And this is going to be the user dot find. In this case, it's going to be, do I want to turn this into lowercase? Yes, I think so. So the email is going to be value dot email, then email, then value dot email dot to lowercase. I need to always run this check because it's not said that I have an email in the body. Otherwise, it's undefined. Undefined. Okay. So basically, this says if there is an email in the body, just put it to lowercase, and otherwise put it undefined. And here I can just say like this. If there is an email, so it's not undefined, then find a user with that email. Otherwise, it's true. So now I can use the AND operator so that these two things must be unique at the same time. One thing that I can do here is to set up a message. So what I want to do here, I'm going to create a message here. And I'm going to say that it is equal. So if it is not, I mean, yeah, maybe it's not unique. User is not unique. Let's put it like this. User is not unique. No. Is user not unique? Better. I like it. So is user not unique? Is user not unique? So if this is true, the message is going to be username already in use. Otherwise, it's going to be an empty string. And then I say that the message is plus equal is a email not unique. Then I'm going to have a new line, of course. No, not like this. This is just gonna go on a new line. Then email is in use. Is already in use. Otherwise, it's an empty string. Okay, and right here, I'm just gonna deliver the message. Plain and simple, like this. Now, we cannot test this until we create one user, but this is the basic logic that I want to follow. So, I'm checking if the username is unique and if the email is unique. If they're not, I need to await this though. If it's not, I'm just gonna go inside the message. If it is, now I want to hash the password. Oh man, hash the password. So to hash the password, as I said, we need to install Bcrypt. So I'm gonna stop this right here and I'm gonna npm install Bcrypt. Okay, we should have it in the package.json right here. Yep. And what we can do now is, well, we can say hashed. Well, actually, you know what? We can say salt. We can follow the best practices in the documentation. They say to generate a salt. Actually, I need salt rounds, and I also need to import it. That would be amazing. Require Bcrypt. Okay. Does it do it like this? Yes. Then it gives a salt round. Do I want this as a global variable? I don't know. Let's say that its salt round is 10, which is, I guess, the standard. Then I want to run salt, and the salt is going to be a Bcrypt. I need to wait for it because it's asynchronous, so it's going to be a Bcrypt dot gen salt, and I just need to give it the number of rounds. Yeah, salt round. Okay. Now that I have the salt, I need to hash it. And I need to pass it the plain text password, the salt, and a callback function, but it's going to be an await for me. So this is hashed, and I need to await for Bcrypt. Why is it not taking it? What's going on? Oh. Hash. I need to pass the password, so value.password. This is going to be exactly like the password. You don't want to store it lowercase because that is going to change the password, of course. Then you want to pass salt. And now this is a promise, so I can do something with it. And once I have everything, I just save the user on the database and I basically return it. Return a 201, which is created. Okay. So what I want to do is, I can call it user. This is await user.create. And I'm going to pass an object with a username, with the hash password. So the password is going to be hashed, the hashed version, and then the email. And then what I can do is just return the user. I'm just going to put a status right here. And of course, it's going to be a 201 status, which is created. If I can just put it inside, which is going to be created. And this should work like a charm. So it's time to test this. Now everything is running, the database is connected, and blah, blah, blah. We have our Postman route. Now we can create this guy. Let's see if everything happens correctly. Username already in use. Why does it do it like this? I don't know. How is that possible? Okay. Okay, so something cannot set headers after they send to, yeah, of course. So basically I am returning something here. So I just return this so that the function stops right here. And I can just return this as well so that I don't have to think about it again. So there is something wrong with this. And let's create a new one, like new user. Password is the same, and this email is newyuser@mail.com. If I do this, why? I don't have okay, you know what? I want to do something different because there is a method on Mongoose. There is exist. So I can use that. I think it exists. Exist, yeah, that's right. So it's not fine, and this returns a boolean actually. So it's telling me if something it exists or not. So if this returns true, is not unique, and also if this, like there is no email, the standard is false. I mean the default is false because the email is unique. There is no email, so I don't need to check it. Just like this, I need to set up a few things more, which is the return statement here, so that the function exits once it hits this point. And the other one is to return here. Well, it looks fine. I say let's test this out. So npm run dev. Okay, the database is connected, and I am gonna post this. Just gonna put new user. The password is going to be that, and that is going to be like, I don't know, new user.email.com. Email.com. Let's see if it creates it. Email in use. Well, okay, that is disappointing, but at least we know that it works. Is it really? Well, let's try like this. New. Why not? Okay, something is wrong. The email is not in use. That's for sure. So here I am saying if this is not unique, or I think I've used the and before, but the or is better because one of the two must be true. Or is email not unique? Why is the email not unique? Oh, maybe I don't need to await this. Wait a second. Am I just stupid? Let's put it like this. Now this doesn't exist for sure. Okay, I'm stupid. Yeah. Basically, I was awaiting for the wrong thing. I need to await for this. Okay, no worries. So this is the new user we created. As you can see, it has a new user. This is the hash password, which is fine. And of course, followed and followers, and the ID generated by MongoDB itself, and the timestamps as well. So now if I go, let's see if I try to create something without an email like this, it should tell me that, okay, it's already in use. But if I new user 2, it should tell me that it's fine. Yeah. And it doesn't create the email though. You know why? Because it's undefined. So if I don't want to put it like this because I'm not going to save it otherwise. So if there is no email, I'll just have it. But if I put an empty string, everything is going to be an empty string. So I cannot do that. What I can do is this. Look, email. If there is an email, so it's not undefined, then you put the email. Otherwise, you put an empty string. Just like this, I should, so if I try now to create a user 3, it should give me an email, and it's an empty email. Okay, like this is better. I like it more. So now we created a few users, and if we go here in the get, we're not going to get anything because we're now not returning anything. But I just want to, one last thing, I just want to organize the get route as well. So the get is very easy. We can do something like this. We make it dynamic. We're gonna put a username, but we're gonna put a question mark. So this route is going to be either slash, so nothing, or the username. So I can just do it like this. I'm just gonna take the username. To take it from the URL, you go into the params and you specify the name, okay? Now, if this is there, then I'm gonna params.username.trim, so I remove any white space and I even convert it to string, okay? Otherwise, it's undefined. That's it, like this. Now, I'm gonna create a query. This is going to go inside my database. If there is a username, well then use the username. Otherwise, an empty object. So this is going to be my object. It's going to be an object, so it's going to be a username like this. Now, what I want to do is a try catch. And the try catch is user dot. You can use the find one method, and it's going to pass in the object. Either it's going to be an empty object, so it's not going to find anything. It's just going to return an empty object. Or if there is any error, I just catch it. Okay, and then I just I can raise a status of 404, let's say for now, and I'm gonna respond. Yeah, I'll respond like this: JSON message, and it's let's put a string literal. Oh, what have I done? My God! And this is, let's put it like this: username not found. Why not? And also we can put it an error 404, just like this. Now I find this user, and to await it I need to put this as a sync, and I return it. So I'm going to put a status of 200, and I'm going to return the user like this. If I have the username, the query is going to be the object with the username, otherwise it's going to be an empty object. And this is going to basically find one with their name, okay? So let's say that this is it. I want to return. It's always fine to return because you basically saying to the function just stop, so you don't create any error. Let's test this now. In the get, if I go user, I should receive all the users that I saved in this episode. And of course, it's just going to return one. What am I doing? I just need to find. Okay. Like this. Now it returns me all of them. So this is the first one I've created, the new user 2, and new user 3. Beautiful. But if I put a new user here, like I want to look for new user, it should give me just that user. And it does. Beautiful. Nice. Amazing. I'd say that's it for now. I mean, this episode was long enough. Now we've seen some good best practice when saving users. Basically, username are lowercase and the password is hashed, as you can see here. This is the hashed version of the password. Now, what we can do in the next episode is, of course, create the other two routes, one for deleting the user and the other one for updating it. And then we're gonna pass on to the Insta routes. So basically the same thing, creating, updating, reading and delete, and the comments as well. And just like this, we should have a pretty good, and solid APIs behind our front end. And we can do basically everything. The last thing that is going to be, that will remain to be developed is the authentication. So the login. I'm not going to provide any reset password and stuff like this. Okay, so I say that's it for now. I hope you are enjoying this video series to build an Instagram clone. And if you like this video and the videos in this series, please leave a like and share. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. That will really help me to create more content like this one. And don't forget to comment down below if you had any question about the project. If you'd like to see other projects developed on this channel, I'm always happy to read your comments and reply to you all. So that's it for now. As always, stay tuned for more. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.